Okay, I've seen you talk about doing some regressions with clients that remember having alien past lives. You're the only one so far I've seen talk about this. There's probably more, of course, but I haven't seen them yet. Is this a recent thing? How long that it started? I know it's been picking up frequency. I've seen you talk about this from a video that you made 2 years ago. Probably it has increased the frequency. What can you tell me about
Well,
this?
actually, funnily enough, the frequency has decreased in the last year, which has been odd.
Really?
Yeah, so basically, for most of my career, occasionally I'd have a client who would come to me for therapy who we'd find in regression that they'd had an alien abduction experience. So they'd been actually taken on board a spacecraft and in one or two cases experimented on, etc., which was all very traumatic for them. But obviously, again, it's about releasing the trauma. And so that was the main way in which people were experiencing alien stuff. And then I had a client a few years ago who was a Croatian gentleman, and he lived a past life as an extraterrestrial from another planet. And he was on a mission in a spacecraft which crashed on Earth, and he survived. And then in the session in hypnosis, in trance, he was terrified because he kept saying, I'm terrified down here. It's insane down here. You know, he knew what would happen. If the human beings found him, he knew that he was in big trouble, especially if the American government found him, of course. So he was terrified. And he just kept saying, what's wrong with them down here? What is wrong with them here? It doesn't have to be like this. It doesn't have to be like this. Because, of course, you know, we're all behaving, or society behaving in these brutal, ruthless ways. So he spent some time hiding from the authorities down here on Earth. And eventually his people came looking for him and found him and beamed him back onto, they came down and they found him and they took him back to his home planet, which is a little bit like E.T. Phone Home. And then a couple of years ago, he and my team, I have a team of therapists who I've trained in my techniques. And when I'm very busy with clients, I ask them to see people because I can't see everybody who wants to see me. And we all found at the same time that session after session after session with our clients, they were going into past lives on other planets as extraterrestrials, as other life forms. And it was extraordinary how it happened for month after month, week after week, for many months, because it had never happened before. It was so rare that it just hardly ever happened. And then week after week after week, it was like a trend. And we all found the same. We had past clients were on planets in other very different physical bodies. In some cases, they didn't have a physical body; they had an energy body. Um, a lot of times, they had missions to do whilst they were on their planets, or they were going around, you know, the galaxy or universe, whatever, visiting other planets. And this was actually a real shock, not just for me, but for my clients, because they didn't come to me to prove that they had a past life as an extraterrestrial. That was not the case at all. They came because they had an issue or a blockage or something they needed working on. And their subconscious took them into these past lives on other planets. And what it did, first of all, it would help to heal the problem that they came with, because it was a release of an energy that was blocking them. Because some cases there's something traumatic had happened on their home planets. Like I had one client her home planet was attacked by other extraterrestrials and destroyed, and their society was destroyed, and she managed to escape on a spaceship, and she was terrified. So we had to release that trauma. In other cases, it was as though by reconnecting with this higher energy, because they're home beings, as I call them, are vibrating at a higher energetic rate, they were clearing blocks that were holding them back in their present lifetime. And going on from that, They were. I started to read up about the subject because I'd never really looked at it before until a couple of years ago, especially reading Dolores Cannon.